Oh, even the ladder's hot.
Fall in Texas equals another 100-degree day. For Juan Velasquez,
I have to be in it. I can't just paint whatever. I just didn't like it. So I would rather be here for 2 weeks making no money than to do a job that pays me $7,000 that I'm not really into it.
the 9-to-5 job is out the window.
The best work you're gonna do is when it fits you. Most of the time when I'm painting, I'm listening to music and I lose track of time.
This is a story with several different parts about the Uvalde shooting, art, and also you've seen those help wanted signs everywhere. You see, 47 million people quit their jobs last year. They said they're gonna do what they love.
So I said, well, I have money for bills for like 4 months, so I'm just gonna go for it.
He's now following his dream of being an artist.
Because I'm not a big social media person. I mean, I had to learn how to use it now.
His social media started blowing up after this mural of Vanessa Ging. Kind of a big deal for a guy who says he's an introvert and was never really into social media.
Major cities across the country are looking more like ghost towns.
This is moving very fast. We should all be very concerned about how we find a way to slow down the trajectory of this virus.
At the start of the pandemic,
I had already lost my job, so I didn't really have nothing to lose.
so at that point, he said it was time to explore his art. During the pandemic, millennials started leaving their jobs, looking for happiness. It was named the Great Resignation, the phrase birthed by Texas A&M professor Anthony Colts.
Organizations are going to have to figure out, how do we draw these employees off the sidelines, these workers back into the workforce?
The Aggie professor predicted some like Juan would start to leave the workforce.
I saw what I could do with it, and I found a lot of appreciation for this.
And the conversation probably starts with pay, with benefits, and then moves on to schedules and other elements of employees' work arrangements.
This project in Fort Worth, Texas is a passion project.
I mean, I paint sometimes because I want to, not because I have to.
Businesses and everyday people will hire him. When the Uvalde shooting took place, killing 21, he knew he had to give back.
And I already know like what kid I want to paint. I ended up painting Alithia Ramirez. She was an artist. She loved to draw and stuff.
Had dreams of having her work on display. The dream is now true, with her work on display in Texas and across the pond in Paris. Her dream destination.
You ready for Lake Fest next weekend with Real Country 92.1 Hank FM?
As the night falls, the Fort Worth lights show off. Juan will use his time to work with the youth at the Boys and Girls Club. He'll also teach students at this art gallery.
First thing we're gonna do is graph that gray.
If he wasn't part of the over 40 million people to leave their jobs, he questions where he would be.
As an artist, we paint stuff that connects with us emotionally. I think the best art makes you feel something. And when you paint something that's inspired through love or pain, it makes people feel something.
Before the pandemic, Juan didn't think much about murals.
You have to paint this part right here.
It was mainly oil paintings.
If you're actually looking at that whiteboard, it's not white.
But when galleries had to close, he was looking for work.
Like, I started my art career, I think I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my art teacher in high school, man. To be honest, Mr. Daniels. He taught me a lot about life, and he did a lot of stuff that he didn't have to do for me. If you take this color and put it on top of that color, it's gonna mix. And
to save money, many times school districts will cut art classes.
You need to use more paint.
According to experts, art is not only a pastime, but also helps kids. They can learn things like constructive criticism.
Don't paint all of this. Right now, we're just right here.
It's also an opportunity to tell a child, good job.
Yeah, man, it looks much better. Good job.
Juan took a chance when he made a decision to stop working and start living his life.
You don't know if the time that you're putting into something is gonna do anything until later on you find out, like, oh wow, like they actually listened or actually made a difference in their lives. Okay, it's a little bit too dark.
And none of this would have been possible if it wasn't for the Great Resignation.
Little details of the darker grays in it.
Leaving the 9 to 5.
The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint a napkin.
I'm Nick Bradshaw reporting.